Be Water just finished. And I gotta give props to 30 for 30, to Bao Wen, the director, to the Bruce Lee Foundation, to Shannon, to Linda. That was pretty powerful. You know, they touched on historical issues that I didn't learn in the classes because, as my social studies professor at Midwood once said, that has stuck with me since then. History is told by the winners. And this is also relevant today, given the tension in our country. And probably the most powerful thing that, I mean, they touched on the injustices, the racism, and the discrimination. And there was a lot of powerful things said in this. If you have any sort of interest in Chinese history in America, this is not a bad place to start. Even my dad was like, wow, this is how it was for him. So I can't even imagine what my parents went through when they first got here. I can't even imagine, like, my grandmother. I remember my grandma walking me and my brother to school. And I remember the shit that people would put my grandmother through. Something as simple as going to buy milk with me and my brother was a process sometimes. We've come a long way. But that hate is still so strong out there. And another thing that was so powerful in this was in one of the interviews, the guy asked Bruce, like, now that he's kind of famous and has some status, like, what does he consider himself? Like, do you still think of yourself as Chinese? And in my head, I'm like, what kind of dumbass question is that? And Bruce's response was just perfect. He said, I think of myself as human. Like, we all bleed red. So thank you, ESPN. Thank you for 30 for 30. And thanks to the Bruce Lee Foundation. If there's one thing that this reminded me of, growing up as a Chinese American, in school and kindergarten and like elementary school, it was always like the stereotypical, oh, you must know like kung fu, you must know karate. And then all the kids would always like, they wouldn't like necessarily challenge you to fight them, but they would like assume that you just knew how to perform certain moves. But that was the environment then. It's what it was. This this evoked memories of why so many of my friends, especially the ones of Asian descent, like why we idolized him so much. And it's because he showed us that it can be done. Like, Bruce climbed the mountaintop and he made it. He showed us that you didn't have to be some hulking 6-foot person to be successful. He showed us that you can do it too. And it was cool. It's cool to see him idolized by people of all nationalities. But it's especially cool for us because he showed us that it was possible. It can be done. So with that said, cheers. And be water, my friends. Be water. Peace out, guys. I'm sorry that it was such an emotional entry. But it was a pretty well done piece. This is one of the things I am thankful for during this quarantine time was it gave me this time to hang out more with my parents. And we spent some time watching this together. It was eye-opening. Thanks for talking about some of the history of Chinese people in this country that likely will never get covered in history classes. But props to my grandmother and mom and dad for telling me those things and educating me. And like I always say, I don't believe you're born with hate. That's something that comes from the home. It's everything starts with upbringing and family values. Together, we will overcome. Peace out, guys.